Howdy folks, and I hope your suit pressure is stable wherever you are in collecting land, and welcome back to the channel for another best of video. And today it's the turn of the Spacemen. Yes, it's those 1/6 scale collectible Spacemen that somehow managed to creep their way into our collection. But before we dive in with my top 5, I'd like to send the usual massive shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like on this video as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the 1/6 scale reviews, news, showcases, previews, and all that other stuff that we've got coming up. So, a couple of rules here. Not many rules in this top 5, but just 2. One, it's got to be a 1/6 scale figure, obviously, and number 2, it has to be in a complete spacesuit, an environment suit, a suit that would be able to sustain the character in space or on some alien far-flung planet somewhere. So, without further ado, let's dive in and find out what's at number 5. Okay folks, so floating his way into the number 5 slot is a very recent release actually. It's the first Men in the Moon figure, courtesy of Star Ace, based on the H.G. Wells 1901 science fiction classic and from the 1964 film starring Edward Judd and Lionel Jeffries. Now, all the figures that you're going to see in this top 5 countdown have had a full review on the channel, so if you wanted to see them in a little bit more detail, get the lowdown on them a little bit more, then check out the homepage. The full reviews are all there. So, why has this figure managed to make it into the top 5? Well, I've got to be honest, it very nearly didn't. It just squeezed in, and I think it's more to do with Mr. Go Figure's nostalgia than the quality of the figure itself. Let's put it that way. I never expected to see this figure ever released. It's a cracking little bit of retro science fiction, the movie, and well worth seeking out. And it's worth the price of entry alone, just for the late and great Lionel Jeffries performance, which is utterly hilarious. So why did this manage to squeeze in? Well, as I say, nostalgia more than anything. Let's have a quick look around this piece from Star Ace, who I have to say, although they have produced some fantastic pieces in the Harryhausen line, and this is from that line, their consistency can be, let's say, questionable in the 1/6 scale world. But let's take a look at this piece. What you've got is this fantastic diorama base, which is based on the ship itself. A section of the ship meant to be sort of stuck in the surface of the moon, and it's quite well done. It's not the best paint applications and the best sculpt in the world, but at the price point, it's quite well done with those sort of moon rocks going on there. You've got the paint applications on the bell itself, which are nicely done to look metallic. You've got those golds and brasses and there's browns in there. You've got the Union Jack sticking out of the side there, because of course the first men on the moon and the first men in the moon were from Great Britain. But at the back there of this diorama base, you've got a miniature version of the bell itself, of the sphere that manages to float its way to the moon, and very well done it is too. The paint applications are nice, the sculpting's nice, and it's a nice little reflection of that diorama base. So yeah, the base is not fantastic. It's never going to win any awards, but it's pretty nicely done. And on the flight pole, you have the figure itself in that converted diving suit that the astronauts used to get to the moon. And it's pretty well done, I have to say. The suit is pretty well done, and those who've seen the review will know that there are some niggles with this particular piece, but we'll get to those. The suit itself, nicely done. Head doesn't move, obviously, because of that diving bell helmet that he's got on there, but overall the screen accuracy is there. The materials are nicely done on this one. The stitch work is excellent, and as regulars to the channel will know, Mr. Go Figure's OCD regarding 6 scale stitch work. I always bang on about that in every video I ever make. But the materials are nicely done, the suit is nicely made, and it is screen accurate. You've got that weight at the front there, you've got those ropes attaching that weight. The diving bell helmet is nicely done and it's weathered on the front. The paint applications on the helmet itself are nicely done with those clear sections in the side. You've got a rubber hose connecting it to the oxygen tank at the back, which is attached to the body by this sort of beige coloured canvas strapping. And I just think it's a great piece of nostalgia. My main sort of bugbear with this particular piece is the fact that obviously Star Race didn't get the license to produce an Edward Judd or a Lionel Jeffries head sculpt, and I am still on the hunt to get my hands on a Lionel Jeffries one and find a way to get it onto this body, which will obviously mean removing that helmet. That's probably my biggest bugbear. I'm always one to take into consideration price point when I'm ever reviewing a figure or it figures in a top 10 or anything like this, and this really is good value for money. But some corners have been cut, those feet, well, there aren't any feet in those plastic boots, and collectors will know that what I'm talking about here, which really reduces the stability. It's meant to be displayed on this flight pole, and that's another one of my bugbears with this particular piece. I'll turn it around here so you can get a look. There's a little hook, sort of canvas hook. Oh, well, not a canvas hook. There's a hook on the end of the flight pole, and then a little canvas tab built into his suit, which is supposed to attach him to this flight pole. But yeah, it's not the best solution in the world. He falls all over the place. The balance is not good, and you really do need to actually use this flight pole, this dynamic flight pole, because he has no stability on those feet simply because they are hollow plastic boots, as I said. So yeah, a lot of corners cut here, but my nostalgia beat out the corner cutting, and I just like it. I think I enjoy it. I love that idea of capturing some classic 60s science fiction. I'm a huge fan of the movie, huge fan of the H.G. Wells book, and I just think it's great to see it in 1/6 scale. Not without its niggles, but as I say, the nostalgia helped this piece creep into the number 5 slot. So there you have it at number 5, folks. It's Star Race's take on the first men in the moon. Let's move swiftly on to number 4. At number 4 in our top 5 Spacemen, it is none other than Premier Toys' take on Mark Watney from Ridley Scott's The Martian, brought to us courtesy of Premier Toys. Now, this is featured in a couple of my videos, this particular figure, because if Mr. Go Figure was going to give an award for punching above its weight, this would definitely be one of the contenders, in my collection at least, for a figure that just thoroughly surprised me. Now, Premier Toys aren't the cheapest manufacturer in the world, they're unlicensed, but they're not, perhaps, you know, they're not up there with the likes of obviously Hot Toys and InArt, who are fully licensed and so on. And the price point does reflect that. And I think what Premier Toys have given us here is a fantastic figure. I really, really like it. I cannot say enough good things about this figure, including the price point. So let's have a quick once over with him, and straight away, proportions absolutely nailed on and accurate. The build of Matt Damon there in The Martian is absolutely nailed on, as is this suit. The colours are right, the patterns are right, the detailing is fantastic with those harnesses going on. You've got the knee pads and the elbow pads going on in there. The boots, yes, I mean the colour's right and screen accurate, but perhaps the paintwork could be criticised a little bit there, but it's not too bad. I suppose if I was to level any complaints at this figure, it is, let's spin him around here so you can see this, it was probably the undersuit. This undersuit is perhaps where it shows its price point a little bit. It's not the best material in the world. So going for any super dynamic poses with this figure, yeah, I think over time you're probably going to end up with some scratches or cracks in there, but I don't really go for those dynamic poses with this figure. But as you can see, the detailing here is absolutely excellent. Screen accurate, as I say. You've got NASA on those shoulder pads there. You've got this fantastically painted and weathered backpack all done in plastic here, which is once again with the number 2 on it, screen accurate. You get to see the back of the helmet there, and the detailing on there, as I say, punching above its weight, this one. It says Watney, Ares 3 on the back there. You've got the NASA symbol. And all the detailing is absolutely on point. I really do like this figure, as you can probably tell. I think it's a cracking piece considering A, the price point, and B, it's coming from a third party. And probably the icing on the cake from me, and we'll take a close-up look at this, are the 2 head sculpts that this figure comes with, and the light-up feature as well. Now, regulars to the channel will know I am not a huge fan of light-up features on my figures, and I hate button cell batteries with a vengeance. I'm really happy that we are moving into the era of USB-C finally, but What Premier Toys gave us here in this light up helmet is fantastic. As you can see, lined there with LEDs, and the battery pack is 2 AA's on the back. Now, let's see if I can't demonstrate this on camera. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but I mean, this thing just simply pulls off this backpack here, and inside a couple of AA's, and it magnetically attaches. Simple as that. No mucking around for 3/4 of an hour trying to slot in the tiniest button cell batteries in the known universe. So yeah, even a light up feature that Mr. Go Figure likes on this piece. But as I say, the icing on the cake are the head sculpts with these. You get 2 head sculpts with this particular figure. This is the bearded take on Matt Damon. There's an unbearded version as well, but I tend to go with the bearded version. It's just a look I prefer. But both of them are absolutely excellent. Really, really well done, and something you would associate with a far, far more expensive figure, or from a far, far more, I'm not saying upmarket, that's harsh to Premier Toys, but to perhaps a more high-end manufacturer, like Hot Toys or InArt, as I mentioned before. The head sculpts I really can't praise enough. So that, combined with all the other elements on this particular piece, of what have made it steal the 4th place in this top 5. So there you have it, folks. That is Premier Toys' take on Mark Watney from The Martian, and an excellent figure it is too, in my opinion. So let's move forward and find out what's at number 3. And at the number 3 slot, you get 2 for the price of 1. Yes, it's not 1 but 2 figures. And it's 2 figures from Stanley Kubrick's seminal science fiction masterpiece that is 2001: A Space Odyssey, brought to us by Executive Replicas. Now, they're getting on a bit, these figures. These are not youngsters. I think they're pushing now about 10 years old. But they are pretty much the only 1/6 scale licensed figures we've seen of Bowman and Poole from Kubrick's masterpiece, and I still think they stand up today as amazing spacesuit spacemen. But why is that? Well, let's have a close-up look at them. We will start at the bottom and work our way up. They are pretty much identical, these, apart from obviously from the colour changes and the head sculpts. So the suits are pretty much identical. The boots themselves are screen accurate. The build is pretty much identical on both of these figures as well, so I would suspect that they've not really gone for height differences and scaling them correctly, Executive Replicas. I think what they've done here is they've pretty much just given us 2 identical bodies, but the articulation's good and the proportions look okay. The boots themselves, screen accurate, grey plastic with that metal rim across the top, and it is actually real metal, and that's what you do find on these figures. There's an awful lot of metal going on. This sort of cuff area here where the glove joins the suit itself, that's metal. There's metal detailing in the canvas strapping, on the detailing on the arms, on these, this is one amazing feature, on these little hose attachments here, if I can get the camera close enough in, they're all metal and magnetic when you attach them to the figure. But yeah, boots are great and screen accurate. The suit itself now, yeah, the material they've used here is not the best in the world. It's not a leather. It feels like they've used a pleather type material. It's not doing too bad, I've got to admit, for 10 years old, both of these figures. I treat them regularly with Aerospace 303. It's done pretty well. I don't have them in particularly dynamic poses, so they're holding up pretty well, although you can probably see there on the neck area the pleather there is starting to go a little bit. A lot of that though was actually down to actually getting the helmet on when I got this figure, because they're metally attached. Or metally attached? I don't think it's such an expression. I think the bottom of these helmets are made out of metal, the same as the other bits and pieces on the figure. And there's a sort of a way of attaching them where you have to, it locks in place, and it can be a real ball ache trying to find that sweet spot to attach them, which means putting a little bit of pressure on, which can and has over the years has caused a little bit of deterioration to the neck area there. And if you look closely at Bowman's chest there, you can see there's a little bit of deterioration happening. But overall, for 10-year-old figures, I think they've done brilliantly well. They really, really have. Sculpted plastic life support system on the chest there, and also, and I will try and swing one of these round actually so you can see this at the back. I will pick this guy up and you can see it at the back. And you've got the thruster pack on the back as well. And once again, that orange plastic is interspersed with bits of metal there. Real plastic piping going to the helmet there. The hoses are all rubber, which is nice to see. The strapping is all the right colour and really well done. Yeah, there are NASA stickers all over the place on this. They're on the helmet, as you can see up top there. And the helmets, I think that they're worth a shout out on their own. I think they've done a cracking job here, Executive Replicas, of capturing the shape, the proportions, the colours of those helmets. Obviously, as I mentioned before, these are officially licensed. Yeah, the Executive Replicas have nailed it on here. And they also did a line of empty suits and helmets as well, so you could actually display these on this rather interesting stand that comes with both figures. So if you were wanting to have a set of suits, which you see in the pod bay in the actual film, in the EVA bay itself, you could do that as well. So they covered a lot of bases here, Executive Replicas. So yeah. They've held up pretty well. The ribs in those suits are screen accurate in the arm sections there. Yes, those stickers on the arms could have been better attached, unfortunately, but it is what it is. They were glued on, so sometimes they need a little bit of TLC to make sure they stay in place. But overall, I think for their age, Executive Replicas have done an amazing job here. And I display them alongside a custom EVA pod. And if you're wanting to see a little bit more of these figures and that EVA pod, there is a full review for the figures and the pod on the channel, so check it out. But it was a long time coming to get the full set, and I chased it for years and years, and it was very difficult. The Bowman came relatively quickly. The Poole took a little bit longer to get my hands on, but let's take a look at these head sculpts. And this is probably the area where these figures are let down the most, I have to say. The head sculpts themselves aren't the best in the world. The Care Delay is not brilliant. The Gary Lockwood is not brilliant either. They are recognisable as the characters from the movie, but if you take that helmet off and get up close with them, the paint applications are pretty basic. The sculpts are okay. Yeah, the head sculpts could have been better, but that's not really the point with these figures. They are recognisable as the characters, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, even 10 years down the line, I think Executive Replicas did a cracking job here. I think they still stand up today. I don't think any other company has tackled these in 1/6 scale as of yet. It will be interesting to see if anybody else gets the license for 2001. I would love to see more of these. I know that Executive Replicas are putting out their own version of a 1/6 scale EVA pod. I don't know whether that's been released yet, but yeah, to me, this was a hunt that lasted a long time. I am so glad to have them in the collection, and I think they make a worthy number 3 in our top 5 Spacemen. So on to number 2. So if you thought the Executive Replicas figures were old, prepare yourself for an even longer trip down memory lane. Yeah, this figure that we're looking at now that takes the coveted number 2 spot is a grand old age of 17 years old. Yes, you heard that right. This is a Hot Toys release from way back in the day in 2008 when they were first finding their feet in the 6 scale figure making world. And it is none other than Dallas from Ridley Scott's 1979 classic Alien. What a figure it is too, even considering its age. The proportions here, let's talk about those before we dive all the way in. Tom Skerritt, yeah, they've nailed it on here. They've got the proportions just right. We've got to remember as well, I mean, the age of this piece and the technology back then, and the techniques and the methods for making 1/6 scale figures was nowhere near as sophisticated as it is now. And they have still managed to produce something quite extraordinary, in my opinion. So let's have a close-up look. First of all, they were using diorama bases 17 years ago. Yeah, Hot Toys were going all in even back then. And you've got this sort of rocky LV-426 type terrain there. You've got the alien egg, which is sort of cupped in that diorama base, which is really nicely painted with the greens and that sort of salmon pink colour at the opening on the top there. Yeah, ahead of its time, this diorama. But the figure itself, let's talk about the figure now. The outfit here, this spacesuit was designed by a guy called John Molo, who took his inspiration from French graphic artist Mobius, who in turn had taken his inspiration for these suits from for sort of feudal medieval Japanese armor, almost samurai armor, and it shows. It really does in the design of this particular piece. But the Hot Toys have captured it really well. Yes, is the sculptant and the paint application up to today's standards? No, it's not. But that's not really the point here, because no one else, as far as I'm aware, has done a 1/6 scale Dallas or any of the away team, in inverted commas, that investigate the alien derelict in the film. So this is the one and the only. This came as a pair, released with the Kane figure. Now, unfortunately, Hot Toys couldn't get the license for that particular figure, so the likeness is just not there, unfortunately. And it's a real shame. So if you've actually seen this figure, the Kane version, he's got a moustache, and I think they actually based it on the actor who was originally supposed to play Kane in the film. So yeah, I don't have that one in the collection. I've always been on the fence about picking it up. I've seen a few on eBay going for silly money, and never quite managed to pluck up the courage to invest in it. But this figure, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Now, they've captured that suit really well, and as aficionados of the film will know, the suits were very similar. The space suits were very similar. They just differed in colour, and Dallas has had this pink hue. Now, the suit itself is a sort of rubber, and it's that sort of how can I describe it? It's a rubber casing over the top of your average 6 scale figure body. And yeah, it's actually aged quite well, considering. We'll spin it around a little bit here. I mean, these knee pads here, and they used a lot of padding. They're almost like cricket-like pads that they used on the original outfits. These pads are separate. They're not adhered to the main body of the suit, and they're made out of a plastic rather than this rubber. And they're attached by these nylon clasps here. One of mine is missing. It came missing when I purchased it, unfortunately, and I have been searching for one for years. It should go just there, but yeah, let's spin it around and take a look around the back. And it's the detailing on this suit for its age, I think, is very good. You've got that pink hue in there with sort of darker pinks in the crevices there to highlight the details. It's dirtied up. You've got those sort of sculpted into the rubber there, those almost crisscross webbing sections around the thighs. You've got the holster there, which is made out of nylon, and in there you've got a plastic version of the pistol, the handgun, that all the crew members carried. Around the back you have the backpack. Now, this is all one piece of sculpted plastic held on by nylon cord, almost those sort of nylon mesh style straps. And I've got to say, I think the accuracy on this backpack is really good. I think the detailing is very good. You've got Dallas's name there. You've got the Weyland-Yutani symbol going on. You've got warnings on there. There are valves picked out and painted to look like metal. And overall, I think we've done a great job with the sculpting and the paint applications. A little bit of weathering as well, which really sets it off well. Then you've got the hoses, which run up to and that one's actually come loose. That one should actually be in there. And as you can see, it's yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to put that back on. And this smaller one here has actually come loose as well. And this is an age thing. That should be in that little hole at the back there. But I think this has come loose as I've taken it out of the display. Yeah, and that one should be on there. And I will try to do this in shot. Yeah, that's not going to go, so we'll just leave it like that. But yeah, that's where it's supposed to sit. They do pop off quite easily. I think that's just down to the rigidity of that plastic hose. The helmet itself is really nicely sculpted, and I hope the light's catching this. You've almost got that sort of verdigris effect going on all that detailing, and they've picked out all that detailing that you got on that helmet. And it almost looks like writing. It almost looks like some form of oriental writing going on there, and I just think it works exceptionally well. Around the shoulder pad areas, once again, you've got that sort of verdigris effect, and the detailing is picked out with that paint application, the Weyland-Yutani symbol on the shoulder there. You've got that plastic sculpted breastplate with his name on it. You've got that section around the midriff area, and also as part of the accessories as well, you get the tripod, which he uses to lower Kane down into the belly of the ship where the xenomorph eggs are. And you've also got that torch as well. Downsides to this piece, well, there are a few. Yeah, its age. Paint applications and sculpting are just not up to today's standards, obviously. However, for its age, I think it's done very, very well. Probably the biggest issues I would say with this for me, and I don't know whether the camera's catching this, underneath those arms there, where the rubber suit meets the shoulders, it's got this sort of, it's got this joint where the rubber overlaps. Now, the rubber hasn't perished over the years, but what it has done is popped out, if you can see it right there, if the light's catching it. So yeah, the rubber has not deteriorated anyway, it was not the best solution there for that joint, was to have that sort of rubber lip which tucks inside the main body of the suit itself. So yeah, that needs some work, but and it's going a little bit on the other side, but not a vast amount. So yeah, paint applications, sculpt, not up to today's standards, but still very good. The only other thing I would say is the head sculpt, but that's of its time. We have to remember this. It's most certainly Tom Skerritt, and it sits a little bit low in this helmet. Now, the helmets were huge in the original film, and their heads did sit quite low in there, but yeah, here it's just a tad too low for my liking, unfortunately. But the head sculpt itself, it's got that sort of skull cap on there. The beard is there. It is recognisable as Tom Skerritt and as Dallas, but yeah, not up to today's standards. And therein lies a big question with this particular piece, and with all Alien pieces actually. Will we see Hot Toys do some 2.0 versions of these figures? I would love to see it. I would love to see a Dallas, a Kane, a Lambert, maybe even a Parker and a Brett as well, and most certainly an Ash would not go amiss as well, so the full crew really. But yeah, I have to make do with this one, but I still think it is well deserved of that second place in the top 5 spacesuits, most definitely. And it also has a little novel light up feature, which I haven't got activated here because it involves the dreaded button cell batteries. But yeah, there's a couple of button cell batteries in that backpack, and you get a red and a green light in the front of the helmet there, on the inside of the front of the helmet, and that top section, that spotlight on the top of the helmet, lights up as well. So there you have it, folks. That's the number 2 spot, and it goes to Hot Toys' take on Dallas from Alien. So let's find out what's won the coveted number 1 spot. Okay, folks, cue the drum roll, cue the fanfare. It's time for the number 1 slot, and it goes to none other than Dragon in Dreams' take on Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. Yeah, it's what can I say about Dragon in Dreams? They started life making military figures, incredibly detailed military figures, and then they suddenly realized that if they sort of started doing head sculpts and things like that, they could make them look like historic figures. And then subsequently they realized they could make them look like movie stars as well, and they could be making figures from movies. But what they were known for in their initial phases, Dragon in Dreams, was their attention to detail, and it is here in spades. Now, the age of this figure is a little bit difficult to determine. I've dug and cannot find an exact release date or year on this particular figure. I do know that Dragon in Dreams released this alongside the Buzz Aldrin and the Michael Collins figure. They came as a 3-pack. I, unfortunately, have only managed to pick up the 1 so far. I am still on the hunt for the other 2. The pleasure is in the hunt, as they say, and I will bag them in the wild one day. But yeah, for the time being, this definitely takes the number 1 spot in my top 5 astronauts in spacesuits. And why is that? Well, let's have a quick look around him. This base, it's not an expression I like to use, but it's classy. It really is. You've got this sort of rectangular wooden base going on here with this simulated moonscape, which has been done in polystone with these footprints in it, which is absolutely gorgeous. And that wood has been polished and suitably varnished. On the front, you've got this wonderful metal nameplate here. It says 1969-2019. I am assuming then that the release date here is going to be 2019 on these figures. Maybe it was to commemorate the anniversary, I suspect so. But yeah, it says Apollo 11 on there, and you've got the anniversary and the moon landing going on, and this stars and all kinds of things, and that's done in metal. So I've just answered my own question there. We know when it was made, 2019. But the figure itself, and as I mentioned, it's the attention to detail here that shines through. and the way it did actually make their figures, it can be complicated. It can be a bit of a ball ache because there's lots of small pieces and lots of futzing around, and you have to be super careful when you're constructing their figures, because they don't hand it to you on a plate. They don't make it easy. You have got to do a lot of the work yourself, and it can be quite frustrating, but ultimately exceptionally rewarding. The proportions on this suit are absolutely nailed on. It's phenomenal. It's a work of art in 1/6 scale, in my opinion. Down to the materials they've used, it's sort of this nylon material. It's padded. Yes, it limits articulation a little bit, but I would rather have screen accuracy in a figure like this, because it's one of the very few historical figures that I have in the collection, as regulars to the channel will know. I tend to more towards your movies and TV shows and so on, but this one really pushes all the buttons for me. The stitch work on that, and I believe it's a sort of a nylon material, is next level, as is the button work and the detailing. Those valves on the front there, those red and blue valves, they all slot into place there, and the sort of I would say cabling, but the pipes that run off them go to the life support system on the back. And that's another thing. If you are ever in any doubt about the level of detailing that did go into, you take this thing apart. This entire life support system comes apart, and it's not just external. Actually, pieces lift off, the covers lift off, and all the internal workings are there. I would demonstrate, but it would take me about 3 days to take it apart and another 3 to put it back together again. But take my word for it, the whole thing comes apart, and it is sculpted and painted within an inch of its life, down to the minutiae of every detail. It's superb. You've got that the flag on the back there, the stars and stripes, beautifully done. The NASA symbol there stitched onto the life support back. You've even got the warnings there about the water reservoir and recharging it. And apparently these are all NASA accurate. This was done with complete reference and access to the relevant pictures of the suit, so could nail everything on. And that's just the backpack. I mean, the backpack is a thing of beauty on its own. The hands, gloved there, they're sculpted plastic, they look great. And it's the detailing on, take a look at these boots, for example. This really shows off the level of detailing here. You've got this almost foil-like material on the external side of the boots there. All the strapping is there, all the stitch work is perfect. The boots themselves underneath are plastic and screen accurate, those super thick soles there, and just overall it's a wonderful job, an amazing job, and one where detail and accuracy, I think, were the watchwords for Dragon in Dreams on this one, even down to this camera that he's got strapped to the front of his chest here. This is once again completely historically accurate, this camera, even down, and I don't think the camera will pick this up under this light, but even down to what's written on the lens there. They've even got the name of the correct lenses on there, and the detailing and sort of wording on the sides of the camera itself are also screen accurate. You've got the Apollo 11 patch on his left side there, the NASA patch on his right side. That helmet has got more layers than something with a lot of layers, which once again, and I'll try and demonstrate here. You've got visor number 1 that comes down here, which is just another clear visor. Then you've got visor number 2, which is my personal favorite, which is the gold one. And that, I think, and I'll pull back here, super reflective. You'll probably see me filming here. That just, I think, is a phenomenal look. It really is. That gold visor just captures that look perfectly. I'll lift it back up so we can see that head sculpt, lift it all the way up. So the only thing remaining is the clear dome underneath. Yes, you can argue that the Armstrong head sculpt isn't quite up to, say, somebody like Inard or Hot Toy standards, but I still think it's unmistakably Neil Armstrong. They've captured him very well. The skin tones are very good. It's not the best paint job I've ever seen, but really that isn't the point here with this particular figure, not in my opinion anyway. This is about capturing a moment in history. It's about capturing the 16th of July 1969, when the first time man actually set foot on the moon and gave us that wonderful quote. I think it's just an amazing piece of work here for Dragon in Dreams, and I think it is a worthy number 1 slot holder for the top 5 Spacemen in my collection. So there you have it, folks. That is Dragon in Dreams take on Neil Armstrong. And I hope you have enjoyed this little rundown of my top 5. I hope it's been enjoyable. What are your top 5? Am I missing it here? Are these not as good as I think they are? Do you have a top 5? Do you collect spacemen, space suits, that kind of thing? Let me know in the comment section below. I would be fascinated to hear your take. Do you have any of these pieces in your collection? What are your thoughts on them? Nothing is off menu, so please drop a comment in the comment section below. I'll be fascinated to hear your take. So, what have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the not too distant future, we have more 1/6 scale reviews, action figure reviews coming in from Hot Toys, from InArt, from Susu Toys, Present Toys, Caustic Plastic, X06, Susu Toys, the list goes on. We have quarter scale statues, quarter scale action figures, tours, previews, reviews, the whole shooting match. So as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the 1/6 scale goodness that we've got coming up. And I suppose all it remains for me to say from myself, from Mr. Neil Armstrong, a massive thank you for watching, as always. And until next time on the channel, take care of yourselves and happy collecting.